Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Uh, my name's Dennis Smeltzer. I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. I've got Paul Esch with me, and this won't be a long webinar. We want to walk you through an introduction to TSANet, but specifically for limited members. And limited members is the largest segment of the TSANet membership, but it's probably maybe the least well informed, and mainly that's due to the fact that when you join, it's almost a totally automated process. So if someone did that and then they didn't pass it on or whatever, so we wanted to do this webinar to let everybody know what TSANet's all about. We're not going to get into a lot of extensive details and things like that, but we want to give you an idea of what this is and what it's all about. So we'll walk you through just a few slides, do a quick demo so you can kind of see that. Every presentation I've ever done with TSANet, I always started out with the fact that it's a not-for-profit association. And I think that's important to understand because we're very member driven. We actually report into a board of directors that's elected by the membership. So you're actually driving this process. And as a not-for-profit, then it gives us certain advantages where we're not coming in this to make money. We're coming in this to support the industry, and that's exactly what we've done here. We're up to over 800 companies. A lot of those are these limited members that we're going to talk about today, and kind of give you an idea of where you are in the hierarchy of our membership and what that means. If I look at TSANet from a kind of a holistic perspective, right, what do we really do? And what we do is we provide a legal framework. There is a code of conduct that every member signs that goes through the fact that, yeah, this is a formal legal process. This is how you're going to handle confidential information, things like that. So we provide that, but then we give the flexibility for you to be able to use TSANet as a relationship infrastructure, where meaning you can also provide different types of relationships and things like that. As limited members, you've actually been drawn in to one of those relationship types, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit as we get into this. You'll also see that what we've done is we've provided a platform, and the platform for you to be able to engage or acknowledge tickets from another member company. And that process we've just gone through in the last couple of years, where that's ISO 27001 and 27701 certified. I know for a lot of companies that is a big deal because data security is obviously risen up to the top of the list, and some members won't even work with us outside of a platform that is not certified. So we have gone through that process, and you can be assured that we're in the middle of that. If you ever need any information from us about data security, you can get that off our website. The other thing that we mentioned here, and this is relatively new, a lot of you that are on this call have been actually members of TSANet for quite some time, but we started this thing called Technical Knowledge Exchange. And it's where we'll have a member company come in and talk about a pretty engineer specific type of process or very technology oriented. So it's really targeted toward the engineers a little bit. We also got some best practices for other members just regarding the overall piece of collaboration and multi-vendor support. So we've got that kind of stuff. This is something that as a limited member, you have the access to be a part of. And we'll show you where that's at here in just a minute. The other piece of this is obviously the reason that you probably came into this was another member company, one of our what we call elite members, came in and said, hey, we need you to be part of this. And we'll talk about why that occurs, but we're here to also support you. So if you've got a problem collaborating with another member company or they're collaborating with you and you're not sure exactly how this ought to work, from the Technology Partner Program, you can contact us. We're here to help you make sure that you understand it and that that process is working. And then in other areas, you may end up looking at something like, I mean, again, this is a relationship infrastructure. So there are other relationships out there, including solution support, things like that. Could be strategic relationships, one-to-one kind of stuff. And we'll talk about how you can look to perhaps upgrade your membership if you want to take advantage of that. But most of you that are on this call are part of this technology partner program where a host company has come in and they've asked you to be part of this. So what that does is it provides a bilateral support collaboration mechanism, right? Which, and a formal one at that, right? So instead of John knowing Bill over at whatever company and, hey, can you call him, right? We're creating a process that not only involves for you to collaborate with that company, but also if it doesn't work, to be able to escalate that call. So from a customer's perspective, you should be able to tell your customers, yeah, we've got a way to collaborate with these companies through a formal mechanism that's an industry alliance that we're now a part of. So that, I think, is a pretty big deal. From To be totally transparent about it, if you're the host of one of these relationships, so you're not a limited member, but typically you're an elite member, what this does is it allows them to say, okay, I'm going to use this infrastructure and I want to be able to create a path, a collaboration path with my partners in case they ever need it. And I need that to be bilateral. So if I need to get a hold of them or they need to get a hold of me on a support request, that this is the way to do it, and it becomes a path of least resistance. And if you join TSANet and you're on this call, you know how easy it was. You went to a landing page for a VMware or a Nutanix or a Cisco or whatever, and you filled out a form, and boom, all of a sudden you were a member. And once we validated that support process was working, we were done. So from a host perspective, honestly, this is a very easy way and a very cost-effective way for them to set up this support collaboration path between their partners. And in a lot of cases, it can be hundreds of partners that we're talking about. For you, it's a very easy and common way for you to be able to collaborate with your partner, with that host partner, and also take advantage of things like this technical knowledge exchange. Again, if I go back and I look at this from a host, well, they've got, and we'll talk about this in a second, they've got the ability to collaborate with, in some cases, hundreds of companies. Well, this gives them a very easy way to go to one place and know how they're going to collaborate instead of having this way to get a hold of this company or this way to get a hold of that company. They have a common platform to be able to do that. It gives you a common platform too, but in most cases, it's going to be very limited because when you join TSANet, you typically, instead of getting into multiple relationships or a relationship that had a bunch of companies in it, you came into a one-to-one relationship, and that's why we call it limited members. This just kind of gives you an idea of what this is. If depending on how you came into this, it could be that there was a $500 fee. We want to really keep the fees down on this. So in a lot of cases, the host company is actually paying for that fee, for your membership fee into it. But what we're giving you as a limited member is the ability to have these relationships. You're going to see here in a minute where we want to expand that, give you the ability to actually expand how many relationships you have and who you have those relationships with. We're obviously giving you the access to the TSANet Connect process and partner programs, the technical knowledge exchange. I mentioned a couple of times, all this is included in your membership, including some of these best practice webinars, and you're going to see even more than that. And if you were part of the onboarding when you came into TSANet, you noticed that one of the things that we did was we validated the fact that the support process that you set up when you went through that electronic setup actually works. So we will send you a test case to make sure that it works. And if you need assistance in helping about how you would contact the host, we can do that as well. I'm going to walk you through kind of the TSANet Connect platform, so you get a little bit of an idea of how that works if you're not familiar with it. But we'll walk through that as well. And this is an overview of the TSANet Connect process. Here's the thing that you should capture out of this. It is not a separate CRM system. We do not do that. It is simply a platform giving you the ability to be able to submit a support request to another member company, or if you're on the receiving end, for you to be able to acknowledge that request and tell that other member, or in your case as a limited member, the host company, this is how I want to collaborate with you. Once that's done, TSANet's going to collect some very basic information and to give you some metrics, give you the idea that yes, there was a call placed, but you're actually, if you're receiving that call, you're going back and telling that member company, okay, this is how I'm going to collaborate. We're going to do it by phone call, or we're going to do it by email, or here's a B2B portal that I want you to come into. And then you're going to track that within your own CRM system using your own business processes. You're not going to go back to TSANet to close a ticket, anything like that. Once that process is done, where if you're receiving a ticket, you've acknowledged it, it's gone back, or obviously this can work the other way around, and we'll walk you through that here in a second, then TSANet's going to collect some very basic information, and then we're stepping out of the way, and we're going to let you do that on your own. This obviously keeps us out of a lot of data privacy, where you might have customer sensitive information. We're not suggesting, and we don't recommend that you even put any customer sensitive information in it when you're submitting that request. But that's what the process is overall, so you understand where TSANet kind of fits in the whole overall scheme of doing that. And this kind of gives you an idea, and I'm actually going to go into the database and give you an idea, but everybody has got their own landing page that they come into, and you'll come in and then you'll be able to see the partners that you'll be able to collaborate with. Typically, this is going to be a single partner, or in some cases, it might be a couple of partners where they've asked you to join into their relationship, but you'll be able to see that, and then a form is going to pop up. So it's an email-based system. It's very easy for your engineers to get credentials to get into the system. Typically, if they've just got an email with your domain in it and you set that up, then they'd be able to get an account, and you'll see their information would be pre-populated on the right-hand side over here where you see test contact, and it's just a test screen. But this is where you go in and you submit a support request. So you're just putting in enough information to say, hey, I've got a problem. This is the problem that I've got, and then you're going to submit that. Almost all of these relationships, and this can vary a little bit, but for the most part, it does require that there be a mutual customer between you and the host company. So the customer contact information is going to be something that's required. You're also going to see in some cases that we've created custom fields for some of these host companies. They may require a serial number or an account number or something like that. But basically what's happening here is they are validating the fact that it is a mutual customer between the two of you. And then you're going to select the priority of the call from, if you're requesting it, you would say, this is a P1, a P2, or a P3. And that gives you, the receiving company, the ability to say, okay, this starts a clock. And what I'm doing is the SLA that's involved in this is it's starting the clock to acknowledge the request. Again, what's really going to happen here is the receiving end is going to look at that from an entitlement perspective, that customer, and then contact you based on the entitlement of that customer. But they need to acknowledge the ticket within the SLA that TSANet is defining here within the relationship. And again, I'll show you this when we get into the system. So when that happens, so the engineer submits that ticket, they're going to get back an email that says, okay, this is a summary of what I just captured that you provided, that you sent into the host company. And if that company doesn't acknowledge the ticket, or if for some reason you need to escalate that call later on down the road, you're going to get escalation information specifically to that company. Now, there's some other things that happen here where it starts a clock and there's automatic escalation information that's put into that. But basically, that engineer that submitted that ticket is going to get an email back from connect@tsanet.org that says, hey, this is what I submitted off. Now, when it goes over to the receiving company, they're going to get it. They're going to respond back to that, and they're going to say, okay, here is the engineer that's going to work the issue. Here's how we're going to work the issue. Like I said before, we're not doing that. Here's some escalation information if you need to do that. So now what's happened is we've got engineer A and engineer B tied together, and that's where TSANet is stepping out of the way. And then you guys are tracking the whole ticket, closing the ticket, all the information that's going on about the customer and the incident itself, you're tracking. The other company is tracking. TSANet's not tracking any of that. So that's how it works, and that's the experience. Again, we're just connecting those two endpoints together. You do, however, have the ability to request other relationships. So when you go into your platform, into your landing page, you're going to see a bunch of different companies, and you can request that relationship. Depending on the level of the member, it can be very, very easy for us to be able to hook you up with that other company. So if you've got an issue, you need to establish a relationship with another company, I invite you to go in to this landing page. It's going to submit a request into us. We'll be able to take a look at it, see where this company is, perhaps connect the two of you together, set up that relationship. Can be very easy to do. You've already agreed to the code of conduct. All the legal framework is in place. So very easy to set you up with a relationship if you need that. So again, invite you to come in, take a look at the partners you need to collaborate with the most. Look at TSANet as the platform for you to be able to do that. So here's the membership levels. We put this in because I think there's a lot of limited members that typically didn't know a lot about TSANet, maybe even didn't know they were limited members. But this is the membership levels that we've actually just introduced within the last 30 days here. And we've got a standard level of membership. What's important to capture out of that is in any of these levels, what happens is that you're coming into what we call a many-to-many or an open group relationship. There are differences between the standard and the premium levels. They have to do with that SLA that I talked about with acknowledging that ticket, as far as whether it's 24/7 or global requirements, things like that at the premium level. But what you should understand is you're coming into this many-to-many group, and if that company is already part of this group, you've just established a relationship with them. So there's 80 plus something companies that are part of this. If you come into TSANet at a standard or a premium or an elite level, then you've obviously automatically established that relationship with some 80 companies. Again, it's going to require that in this membership relationship area, it's going to require that mutual customer exists. And if you come into an elite level where you can get into creating your own partner programs, different things that we do at these different levels, I'm not going to get into all the details, but essentially this is upgrading your membership to be able to utilize TSANet a lot more than what you're doing as a limited member. So you can come in, we've got single sign-on capabilities, more advanced integration with the CRM system. Again, we get over into creating your own ecosystems when you get into the elite partner level, and we've got success managers that are involved in helping you get the most out of your membership dollar, that kind of stuff. So if you want to look at upgrading into this, this would be the path that you would probably do that. You can contact us to talk about it more. I would invite you to have a one-to-one with us. Let me do this demo real quick to give you an idea. If you're not familiar with TSANet and how it actually works, I'm going to come in and just show you. So I've come in here and we've just created this limited test company. So what I would do is I would come in here and I would click on that company that I can collaborate with. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up that form that I was talking about. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better down here. Again, right, as the engineer, my information is already going to be preloaded in here. I put in my case number because we're going to capture that as part of the metrics, right? I'm also going to put in my contact information here. Again, it's going to be preloaded. I'm just putting in, hey, this is the problem that I've got, so that the receiver of this ticket in this incident is going to be able to pass it on to wherever it needs to go. And then in here, what I'm doing is I'm identifying who that mutual customer is. And there may be, again, some things in here where there could be a custom field the host company is set up, where it could be a serial number or an account number. If you've actually already got a ticket open with this company, you can put that in, and then that obviously is going to connect you right into that engineer, because they're going to be able to look up that case number. And then down here is going to be the priorities of the acknowledgement of that ticket. So a P3, and these are all identified. They could be different depending on the relationship, but P1 is typically a 2-hour response time, and a P2 is a 4-hour acknowledgement, and a P3 is a next business day. And then you just submit the ticket, and it's as easy as that. Then that's going off, and then that triggers the other thing that I showed you, where the engineer is going to get that acknowledgement back. The receiver is going to get the email. They're going to say, this is how we're going to collaborate with you. Those two people are tied up, and that's how it works. So it's a pretty simple process. Back here, demo, we're getting close to just about being finished up here. So again, the technical knowledge exchange, we talked about that. A little bit more detail on that. These sessions are about an hour long. They're typically very technical oriented. You have access to that. The regional focus groups are the people that are usually selecting the topics. That's not something that you have access to at a limited member level, but is something that you have access to is if you were to upgrade your membership, and this is where these people are getting together all over the world. We've got focus groups in Europe that's very active, India, Australia, Japan, and obviously in North America as well. And some of these cases, they've actually got Japanese sessions where it's an all Japanese type of thing. So again, we're obviously very global. Keep that in mind as you look at TSANet and perhaps some of those other options.